Hello, it's Richard, welcoming you to the latest episode of Tea and Trails podcast. I'm at the top of Beda Fell, which is fell number 15 of my spring effort to climb all of the Wainwrights. That means I've got less than 200 to go, and I'm raising funds for a fantastic charity, Mind Over Mountains. Enjoy listening.
Energy, Gary. Bring the energy. I'm feeling like a 5 out of 10 Eddie. How am I going to do it? I'm going to raise my game. Coffee?
Nah. Coffee. Could really do with a coffee. I tell you what. Are people listening already? Guys, we're going to do it. Okay. We're going to get you going. We're going to get you warmed up. If you're just switching on for your long run, we're going to get you going. You won't know this because we'll edit this all out. But let's do like 40 minutes and let's have coffee and maybe a muffin.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be incredible? You're going to Starbucks. What's your like little coffee treat of choice? I love a Starbucks blueberry muffin, and I kid myself it's healthy because they put a few oats
blueberries in it. I don't like it when they put calories on treats because it really sways what I'm
I don't
gonna
like
have.
calories on anything. I do not want to know what's going in my mouth.
They used to... oh goodness me, I'd go straight to the gutter every time you say stuff like that. They used to do like a donut-y, apple-y kind of glazed thing. It was incredible. What do you do anymore?
I've got that post-massive long run where you have fueled, but you are so hungry the next day. I've already had second breakfast. It's only 10 past 10 and I'm like, what? And I want like pasta and chips and stuff.
Yeah, salty stuff.
Do you know what? It would just take a second if I went into Bryn's office and disturbed him and went, do you want full brunch, full fry up? He'd be like, hold my beer. He'd be like, this is my dream day.
His chair would just be spinning.
Oh my God, this is my dream woman at last. I'm already feeling better. better.
I've cheated up a little bit. I'm like a 6 out of 10. I was a 5 out of 10 earlier. Anyway, hello and welcome to episode 121 of the Tea and Trails podcast. And thanks for the intro, Richard. Richard is still going strong on his Wainwright's adventure. Really enjoying Richard's Facebook updates. He's had incredible weather. I know sometimes too much sunshine is sad times, but if you're out doing a big adventure like that, then yeah, absolutely incredible. He's just completed Fell or Wainwright 130 of the 214 fells. Please keep those intros coming. Email them to hello@teaandtrails.com. I think if anybody saw me out on the trails with my heat suit on, it would be guaranteed.
I think you look hot. Hug. You with that hoodie in the sun, you look really cool. I look like some strange undercover
that was the 10th
person that works
selfie,
in some
Eddie.
sort of...
Oh yeah, definitely curate what goes out there.
Do you? I get sucked into it because I just take like one just to send to you and the odd. We should start a WhatsApp heat group selfie because there's 3 or 4 of my mates that send me their sweaty
selfies.
Pictures, which, I can't get enough of it.
I can't wait. You know when you see somebody on the trail with a tea and trail student, you're like, oh, are there? Or a t-shirt, a race t-shirt. If I say, an Old County Tops t-shirt, it's a little like,
yeah.
Afternoon. If I pass somebody in full heat suit,
we just look at their legs. You're incredible. Just pull that corset and let the sweat trick out and go, my pleasure.
And share our sweat. Yeah. Big sweaty hugs and kisses to all our patrons and everyone who's joined Patreon over the last week. For the price of a cuppa, you can keep the lights hot and the mics on and save big time on all your trail running essentials. Runderwear are the latest company to join our growing list of perks. Patrons can enjoy 15% off your order at runderwear.co.uk. Defo, my favourite undies. I can't remember.
Do we need this?
But I'd save them for special. That's the problem because they were so precious. I would save my underwear for race day. It must be 10 years. I think I heard about my marathon talk first of all. I blagged a free pair actually at York Marathon once. Absolutely incredible. Don't forget, if you want a snood or a bobble hat, then you will need to add your address to Patreon. No address, no goodies.
Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel Hydration, Harrier Trail Running, Phoenix Light UK and Protein Rebel for sponsoring this week's show. X Miles is a family-owned independent endurance sports retailer that provides nutritional goods, apparel and accessories to help athletes perform and recover at their best. X Miles offers a wide range of high-quality products from leading brands, and their team of nutrition experts, cyclists, runners and outdoor enthusiasts can provide expert advice and guidance to help you reach your goal. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just getting started, X Miles is the perfect place to find everything you need to succeed. Listeners can get 10% off over at www.xmiles.co.uk via the link in the show notes.
I can't remember which guest we interviewed recently, but one of them had used the SIS beta fuel, which you can get from X Miles. Oh, it penetrated me, but I can't remember who it was. Who said it? I'm blanking.
I don't think we need to use with gels. I want to try them. I know Debs uses them. I've heard good things about them.
40 grams of carbs per gel. And I even mentioned, I think I heard somewhere that you weren't supposed to use too many of them in one go. I read the blurb. I couldn't find anything.
I love stuff like that because then I'm like, what will happen? It's going to blow my eyeballs off. I'm going to take them all day.
Well, my plan is, I've ordered some, like, don't try anything new on race day. I've ordered some for all cami tops. So first time I'm going to use them. And in all cami tops, there is 3 huge climbs. And I'm thinking, just take one of those timely at the bottom of each of those climbs because you don't want to
Are you going to take your caffeine at the bottom as well?
Oh, I am. I've got some.
Oh, please, can you?
I've got 3 caffeine gels over there. 9 hours. Well, it's always been about high 8 to 9 hours is round about our all county tops time. So, yeah, after London, it not being a complete disaster taking caffeine, then yeah, I'm ready to roll the dice again. I've got some Protein Rebel caffeine actually, so it's not the 100 milligrams that the Precision Fuel Hydration deliver.
I just take one of those for a school run. I'm on fire. Get out the car, get out the car. Let's do this.
So I'm thinking, 40 grams of carb, that will just get me up pretty much all of those climbs without any faff on the way up, especially when you're blown out of your arse.
Oh, you just get it in, swallow, slurp, swallow, off we go. My basket is full at X Miles. I just need to press check it out. Do you remember that? Check it out. So I put some beta gels in there and I've put some super fuel, is that one? The supernatural fuel, just to mix it up a bit because I've got a big adventure coming. So I'm going to need every piece of sports nutrition that X Miles offer, basically. Should I just send them an email and say, just do a pallet, drop it off?
Smorgasbord.
Have you entered the Tea and Trails Ultra Weekend? If you'd like to spend a weekend with us, the dream, entertainment, camping and a race, pop over to www.teaandtrails.com. I got a message from Lucy. I knew I would. She said, we talked about the band last week and who'd be playing what. And we said, Lucy, perhaps on the Maracas, we could see her. She's got the beat. She then replied, I was a percussionist. I could play the drums.
Oh, you need a drummer.
We've actually got someone qualified to hold a beat now in the band.
Drummers are like goalies on the football pitch. They just hold it all together.
Yeah, they're the coolest people in the band, aren't they? Very grateful to Yugoku Projects too for producing a Tea and Trails cap. Pop over to Yugoku Projects if you'd like one. Don't forget, patrons receive 20% off. My cap saved my bacon yesterday, and I tell you what, even though it was blowing a hoolie on the top of Ben Lomond, it stayed firmly on my head. I actually thought if this blows off, I'm going to cry, but it didn't. It was safely secured. Have you washed your cap yet?
I've worn it a few times for the heat session, so everything gets wet.
Have you? Oh, I would never go that deep. But yesterday, the peak was like totally moistened out. So I wondered, should I wash that or should I just dry it? I'm not sure about my washing skills as well.
Hot off the press, I've just been invited to collaborate on a post over on Instagram.
I wondered what you were doing when I was talking to you. I was like, he doesn't look very interested in my cap chat.
Tea and Trails Ultra.
So excited. Libby was messaging you. You're like, oh, what?
But Tea and Trails Ultra have collaborated with Precision Fuel Hydration. This is hot off the press. I'm actually reading this out live. £500 prize.
Don't share it. Keep it for you and me. We'll just enter it under our names, Edward Sleuth and Gorgeous Twiddles.
You can find the deets over at the Tea and Trails Instagram page or Tea and Trails Ultra Instagram page, and probably, can't confirm this, but probably at Precision Fuel Hydration's Instagram page too. And yeah, check it out for all the dates. Competition closes 31st of May.
We only got 2 entries to that competition. So disappointing. I had a bit of a podcast fest yesterday on my drive home, and I was listening to some much more professional and higher ranked podcasts than us, but they do a little intro to themselves at the beginning of each podcast. And I thought,
every week.
Yeah, but we don't do that. So you're always at me going, we need more listeners up there. We need more listeners. And I'm like, we don't need anyone else listening to this. But if we want new listeners, they just jump in. They're like, who the hell are these people? Do you think we should go? No, you're not interested in that.
We can make a little intro for each other each week.
Yeah.
You just throw me under a bus every week.
Yeah, totally. I was already in my head. We just let people just kind of start listening and go, what the hell are these two twittering on about? And then slowly we line them in. And then they like, is it Sally Hart? 6 hours? I've got a longer one than that coming up on Tales from the Trails. We've got a record, I think, for podcast listening. Anyway, we're here like, I'm really sorry if you're watching. I'm so tired. I've got that. When one eye is slightly
lazy eye.
I was hearing about this plastic surgery that women are having now where they have the eyelid slit open and then pulled back. So like
I saw something about Ozempic eyes because it kind of you lose the fat around your eyes too.
Oh no. Sometimes. Anyway, I've had a full on few weeks. 5 a.m. club, Gary, 10 days straight. I learned something about that was rough, but 5 a.m. club, I just learned not to think. I swing my leg, the alarm goes off. And I'll just swing my legs out the bed. I'm like, don't think. Oh my God. Because that just means you lie in bed for 5 minutes. You've got to get up. So just get the legs out of bed, stand up. And then by the time you're downstairs and the kettle is on, it's not so bad. But then I had the chance to have a line at the weekend. I couldn't do it, Gary. 5:08. I was like, ding, ding.
Ruined.
My life.
What time are you going to bed, though, for 5 o'clock alarm?
Well, it's really tricky because when I'm here by myself, the kids have got teenagers now. 10 o'clock, they're like, so, Mum, I've got this geography test for tomorrow. Can you test me? I'm like,
And what's your judgy morning report? That would trigger me. Your Garmin report.
You are needing, maybe find some times in your day to rest a little bit this morning, Eddie. Less 5 a.m. I don't mind it when the weather's like this. I do love getting out with the dawn call. There's nothing. You feel smug when you're back home, done and dusted.
Lisa was telling me she was listening to the dawn chorus and she could pick out the conversations between the birds.
She is incredible. I wish I could hear more of which birds they are because I'm sure they're just like, I can hear a blackbird.
Yeah,
but
need an app.
It's about skylark. Yeah, I've got a little twittery app. I don't have time to stop and record and listen and then go, is that it? Anyway, I managed it, got up. So I set up on my watch to do 6 by 6 minutes. I went out in the afternoon to do it as a bit of heat training as well. I had to blast the warm up a bit. I think I was running during like school pickup times. The road was a little bit busy, so I wanted to get off the road. So I thought I could roughly count that warm up as my heart rate was already 155 by the time I got to the end. But I felt good. I was seeing some I was cruising along thinking, I've still got it. I can't believe I did this. I went so fast the first couple. I had nowhere to go, Gary. I'm very rarely like that. You know me. I like to build under it. I had nowhere to go. I think I was just so happy. It was like sunny. I was feeling good. I think the first one's on a slight downhill. Got to number 5 and everything was, when you start hauling the body using your upper body, the time was, and my watch was beeping, judge, your heart rate's not in the zone. Your heart rate is not in the zone. And it takes you like 2 minutes to get it up in the zone. Anyway, so I called it. I said, Coach Eddie is calling this after 5. I'm not sure why I said I'm going to do 6 anyway. I called it at 5 and I was so glad I was. Lindy and I limped back up the hill. Even she, normally, who has a bit of a tug on the lead for most of it, she was like just next to me going,
well, half an hour of effort, Eddie. That's still a big workout, isn't it?
I think that was quite good. Yeah, but it did. I was like, I'm done. Did a couple of heat suits. My God, Gary, the one I did on Sunday, it was absolutely... I don't always wear my core suit because I think it doubles the sweat.
Has it got some special material or is it just something I could buy from B&Q?
Something in it, some sort of Russian sealant in it. That means that the sweat can't go anywhere. Sunday, I had my old cross-country skiing leggings, which are like a thermal fleece line. So I put those on and then an old thermal top, then the suit on with the hood bit around that eyes, and then 2 big puffers and a beanie hat, and then like tracksuit bottoms, and then waterproof trousers as well over my suit. So I started off on the treadmill, and then it was so hot and I was so uncomfortable. I thought I got to run outside, because I think when you do it outside as well, it's slightly easier because you can just go with the effort, so you're not having to constantly change the pace. You feel fine for like 15 minutes, and then suddenly you're like, I find it really hard to run that slow on the treadmill because I'm just like, how can I be running this slow? Whereas on the outside, you don't know what speed you're running. I'm just watching it on my watch going 38.9 degrees. Anyway,
I'm like begging it. I'm begging for if it's like 150 beats a minute, like walk, just get it back down. Just get your heart rate back down.
I do have to have a few little, and if you're outside as well, it's easy as, I guess, get to the gates and stuff. And I'm just like, just have a little moment here.
Tree to tree.
Picture. Tree to tree. Anyway, I had the suit on, Gary. And then as I was running, this hasn't happened before, it like the sweat was obviously pooling in my ankle. And it just suddenly went, sorry, I'm just having a cup of tea delivered. Thanks so much. It just suddenly went and plopped out the bottom of my leg, like when your waters break and you have oh my God, it was so disgusting. I was like, this is totally gross, but also like kind of like really satisfying. My trainers were totally soaked, my socks, everything, because obviously the sweat just pools all the way down. This is really disgusting. Why are we doing this?
It's an incredible amount of extra effort you are putting into your week. So yeah, if you are like, say, I would probably want to do a couple of hard sessions a week and then maybe even 2 long runs if I was training for a 100 miler, and then to stick this on top, it is just like, I've been beating myself up, I've been beating myself because since London Marathon, I've probably only done 1 workout a week and 1 long run a week, which has kind of distracted me from Little 100 training. But then I've neglected to think, well, actually probably 3 times a week, my heart rate is screaming on top of everything else. So yeah, there's a lot of stress going on.
You're all right. There's a lot of stress. I tend to do only one of those mega heat session suits a week. The others I just use as like a little top up to keep my core app from getting, but 1 a week, because then as well, you're pretty ruined for the rest of the day. You've got to rehydrate. You've got to stay near the squash bottle then. I had a nice long run, dropped my car off for its MOT. Good luck, Black Mamba. May you pass with speed and grace. Fingers crossed. She passed with flying colours. Of course she did.
Hey.
A few recommendations. I was like, are those legal? Do we need to do those? Or do it's just recommended? Well, recommended what? I'd like to recommend myself to have some nice abs, but I don't. But so I was like, thank you very much. Lovely. So many lambs. Gary, is it just because I've not been over in this country for a long time that the lambs this year, these pristine little white, I've got this, I just want to have some baby lambs for pets, but then I don't want them to grow up, and I think that's what because big sheep are a bit, I tell you what, you can't let your dog off the lead in Scotland. Like they are round sheep. it is a massive fine. You are being big trouble.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
I just never even let mine off the lead because I'm just like, you don't know where the sheep are because they just roam free. And you went round a corner. Can you imagine? So I looked at them in a different way that Lindy looked at them, but they made it's almost as good as the dog count on a long run. It's the lamb count. Delicious. Last workout I did a Gary. I was like, I've done that. I've done a workout, I've done my long run. I'm just going to stick that treadmill uphill. Zone 2, I had to take the dogs out first, and I thought, I'm going to do dog run in the morning, and I'll do this treadmill workout in the evening. And I thought, you know what, future ready, I'm going to stick it all together, make it a longer session, and just get it done. And I thought, I'm a bit tired, I'm not going to do a proper session. But actually, it is quite a proper session, because you start off like the first 10 minutes going, this is so nice, I can watch videos, I can speak, I can breathe. And then by the end, you're like, that heart rate drift's the real deal. So all in all, considering how busy and everything was, it was a good week. And I managed to tick all the boxes.
Tidy.
I didn't do my last strength on Sunday because I was having a mega day on Monday. And I was like, I was a bit nervous about it, and a bit nervous about the DOM. So I'd done my squats but hadn't done my deadlifts. And I thought, I'm going to have to let that one go, because I don't think deadlifts the day before a massive vert climb.
Got to show up.
So I will make sure I can't do it today because I won't be able to bend down, but in the next couple of days. So it's all good. It's nothing incredible, but it's just ticking them off, Gary. I don't feel incredible. I don't feel really fit. I just feel like a...
Are you fishing for a compliment here? Is that what you...
Are you thinking, Eddie?
You look incredible. You are.
That red face, that droopy eye. Anyway, you all right? You had a little bit of a Eddie. It's a lot going on, Eddie.
Well, I was thinking about what you said about the dogs, and I thought something that we could possibly add to the podcast once a week was a rant and a rave from the week. I've got no problem with dogs being off the lead, but if you have no recoil with your dog, especially after our recent dog bites. That does trigger me.
It's when you're on a path and I've got my dogs on the lead and they're like, they're really friendly. And I'm like, yeah, but I have to stop to get past your dog on this quite narrow path because mine are attached to me and then go round. And even if it's really friendly, just call it back or just make an effort. I'm not one of those people that are like, if your dog hasn't got recall, just make an effort rather than carrying on your phone or just going.
Well, the recall's important. I was in Castle Dean with George on Sunday and we passed this guy with the dog. His dog was lovely, no issues with the dog, but all I could hear was this guy shouting his dog back and just into the distance. Probably about a mile later, he still was shouting his dog's name. I'm thinking, you obviously have no control over your dog. And there's deers, there's rabbits, there's squirrels, there's everything down there and other dogs too. So yeah, that does trigger me a bit. But my week, Monday, Tuesday, heat runs and mobility, just trying to layer it on. More mobility, because like I said before London Marathon, I probably won't be doing, I'm definitely not going to the gym lifting heavy. I do some body weight stuff, but it's all mobility. And it's a first world problem. We're having a new kitchen put in, and anybody who has had a kitchen put in the house will have some sympathy. Goodness me, it completely disrupts your whole being. Fortunate we've got a kettle, a toaster and a microwave so we can hobble on, but everything so we're doing washing up upstairs in the bathroom. The downstairs sink that we can get access to isn't big enough to wash anything up. It's just like a hand basin. And if you forget something, it's really tedious, but yeah, just trying to make a cup of tea, and if you forget a teaspoon or something like that, it is quite stressful. And I thought it'd be great living off ready meals, but yeah, pot noodles and ready meals, they are taking their toll.
Bryn's on his way.
Sent him around. I thought it'd be awesome. I got quite excited. We were in Tesco or wherever it was, and I was like, pot noodles this, and looking at all the various. Some of the ready meals look quite tasty, but yeah, Lisa does ship, so her Friday was Monday night. I thought it'd be nice to have a takeaway, but it just laid on more grubby food onto all the other grubby food that I had, so I couldn't even enjoy.
Would you contemplate getting an air fryer?
We've got an air fryer, but we've not embraced the air fryer yet.
Why don't you embrace that now? You can put a bit of salmon in there and chop up some potatoes, and you're done.
Should do that. Yeah, it's only got one vessel. It's not one of these
I put everything in one thing.
Everything in there. Well, maybe true. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we're pretty lazy. We've not embraced the air fryer. But I reflected on Brew the Coaches last week, and I listened to the whispers. I didn't feel tip top on Wednesday, and my HRV had dipped into unbalance. So I did some body weight exercises. So it wasn't a complete rest day, but that's super easy. A couple of short strength sessions with Garmin. I'm enjoying it. It's like we said about the heat trainer. Just add something new into your training, whether it's actually doing anything or not, but it's getting me to do it. It's not ideal, it's not great, but I think even Trish said years ago, one of the Brew the Coaches, something is better than nothing. And I've also been reflecting on, because we chat with Lianne van Dijk, and she was mentioning about enjoying races, what potential future races she's going to do. She needs to enjoy them, and she likes actually running. So I've been thinking about future races after Northern Traverse. I think when you do races above 100k, if you want to do okay on the day, you can wing it and have a sufferfest potentially. But if you want to do as well as you possibly can, then you have to invest a lot of training, possibly double days, weekends away. And I just think currently it's feeling all a bit too much. And I'm super lucky, like everybody all around the country. I've got hard mowers, I've got trail outlaws, there's ultra trails, and there's Punk Panther close-ish too. So there's lots of race directors out there with shorter distances. I think even hard mowers, they do a trail marathon series. That was how I first dipped my toes into ultra running. So yeah, maybe 2026 I do shorter stuff, but I still think you need to feel satisfied. I'm feeling a bit of anxiety ahead of All County Tops because I know that's going to be like a 9-hour day. If all goes well, it could be 10. I think you probably get timed out for the 12-hour day, but yeah, so there's some anxiety with these big long days. So maybe trail marathons could be something. I'll just get 4 more as soon as I see some other big super duper scary race. I'll be doing race across Scotland.
I'm just letting you riff. I'm just letting you riff and going, yeah.
I just feel currently there's lots of time invested going to the Lake Districts and back, and just especially this year when we've gone back to the moors quite a lot, it's like, wow, this is like half an hour away. We're parked up, we're on wonderful, beautiful trails. There are races I could train for and do over there, right on my doorstep. Maybe 2026, it's time to take a bit of a breather from the super duper big stuff. Well, from April onwards. Workout of the week, I did it. Well, I kind of did it. I didn't do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I did 2 times 4, 3, 2, 1. Only because that mirrored in time-wise roughly the volume that my workout that I was supposed to do on my plan did. So I didn't want to, because if I did the 2 times 5, that's an extra 10 minutes. That's a super duper big session. So I didn't do that. So basically I did the 4 minutes and then I lowered the incline on the treadmill and increased the pace every time. Absolutely loved it. And reduced the amount of recovery too for the shorter reps. Yeah. Really, really enjoyed it. Doing miles on my own on Sunday, I think about 13 miles, 2 and a bit thousand, maybe 3,000 feet of elevations. That's good. Very short and sharp climbs. Lovely stroll with George to the cafe in the Dean and back for a cuppa and a scone. I am feeling a bit meh. I think it's probably a fair reflection.
That is your London Marathon price.
The taper, the event, and I want the come down from the event, and I feel like I've been robbed because I'm straight into Old County tops and it's disrupted everything. There's disruption in my home and I like consistency and stability, and there's just...
Well, I'm your constant, Gary. I'm here. Look, it's always the same, always a little bit smelly, a little bit...
Did you see on social media, people are asking questions about this guy called, I'm not too sure, is it Ross Cook or Russ Cook, the hardest geezer? He's doing a challenge at the moment. He did a challenge a couple of years ago, I think, where he ran the length of Africa, and he was the first... Well, I don't think he was the first person to run the length of Africa, but he's the first person to record it. So there's some kind of sketchiness around that. But yeah, people are questioning his validity of his Strava deets for his latest challenge where he's running the islands of New Zealand. I'm not too sure if people have noticed this, but we don't normally talk about people or do clickbait content on the podcast because A, whoever is at the end of the comments is an actual person, and I don't want to layer any stress to that person. B, I think clickbait content is lazy. And from my point of view, the reason why I've kind of moved the goalposts with that, I am a working class kid, come from working class background. So I really hope he is legit, because for me, this guy, if you don't know who he is, he has got a very strong regional accent. For me, when I hear somebody who's got a regional accent doing something awesome and inspiring, I think it's really powerful because it will inspire potentially the next generation of kids who are from working class backgrounds. From my memory, my neighbours didn't run across Africa or New Zealand or do anything. They literally played football. So I do think it is super important you have people from maybe working class backgrounds doing these awesome, amazing things. So that is why I'm mentioning it, because I've got everything crossed. It's like, say, when people question your favourite athlete, if they're legit or if they're doping.
Yeah,
there's some athletes,
heartbreak, don't you? Oh.
I would be devastated. So yeah, hardest geezer, fingers crossed it is legit. Just that inspiration to people who maybe just wouldn't think. When I did this talk with Robbo at the school a few weeks ago now.
Tell me more about that, yeah.
But it's important because these kids, they just think the only outlet is football. The only outlet is maybe X Factor or Britain's Got Talent. That's how their avenue into maybe earning decent income. So when they see people who are just like them doing awesome and amazing things, I think it is super important. So yeah, please, hardest geezer, fingers crossed it is all legit. Brew the Coaches. Thanks Precision Fuel and Hydration for supporting Brew with the Coaches. How do you handle hot races? Well, I'm hoping all this heat training, my goodness me, I'm hoping all this heat training pays off big time. But yeah, we've got Cape Wrath coming up, UTS, which is going to be a scorcher. You've got Centurion, North Downs Way 50, almost 110 isn't far away, and the Skipton Skedaddle coming up, just to name a few. And the trails are going to be bone dry, depending on the course, no streams.
Well, I think the thing is with the streams now, like in Scotland, there's warnings not to drink from the streams, like around the West Highland Way. There's been reports of walkers getting really ill from drinking from the streams. Okay. So I'd be very wary about...
That's changed my race strategy for Saturday.
Using a filter. Well, I would definitely use a filter.
But yeah, also you might not have got on top of your heat training. So what can you do? Okay, you've got a roster of athletes who are probably doing all of these races.
I think planning is one of the biggest things. So First of all, you need to think about how you're going to carry enough fluid. I'm going to use UTS as an example of this, in that notoriously there has been a number of times when they've not had enough fluid on the course. So be prepared for that. I know it's like, but they should have enough water on the course, but historically they haven't had enough water. So be prepared to carry a bit more. And I would potentially even put a bladder in and have bottles at the front and put a bladder in as well. Just, I know the extra weight would then be like, I'm carrying that bit of extra weight, but I don't think you'd be sad about that. I think most of the races, the checkpoints are, they really think about the distance between them and stuff. But when it is really hot, I think have the ability to carry a little bit of extra fluid. Think about your electrolyte needs. Think about whether you're a heavy sweater, medium sweater, how much salt you're going to have. And even if you've got your electrolytes, I would have a safety little bag of salt tablets, just in case you get your electrolyte balance wrong. If you've not done a race yet this year, or even, how many times have I passed people on a trail who are cramping? You can give them a couple of salt tabs and help them out. You can be that good citizen. The other thing that not just thinking about fluid and stuff, is that lots of people really suffer with nausea when it's hot and getting calories in. So think about your anti-nausea solutions as well. There's tablets that you can take. There's ginger you can carry, things like that. Just a little bit of thought, a little bit of planning. Make sure you know where the checkpoints are in the race. Think about the time it's going to take you between them. When you get to the checkpoints, in like maybe a winter race, or if conditions were a little bit cooler, you might quickly go through, top your bottles up, bish bash bosh, and out you go. But I think if it's hotter and you're arriving there dehydrated, taking an extra minute or so to making sure you've drunk enough before you get to the checkpoint, refilling your bottles, taking a big load of calories, fluid on, you might feel a bit as you leave the checkpoint, but really restocking, making sure you've got your supplies. And maybe if you are feeling a bit hot, just having a moment, put yourself in the shade for a minute and just let that heart rate go down a little bit. So spend some time looking at the course and don't get a shock when you're like, oh my God, it's 3 hours between these checkpoints. And don't forget, when you're looking between checkpoints, don't just look at the distance, look at the climbing. If you've got old race results as well, you can go back in there and kind of look at how long it takes people between checkpoints.
Like if you go on Strava, Garmin, you can see elevation profiles. I know from all county tops, yes, I probably should invest in a filter, but there's some good, solid water points. I can't remember even in the driest of years that they have been dry, but do some research on the course, because you make a fantastic point. You might be doing a mile uphill, all of a sudden that's a 40-minute mile.
Think about your kit. Put your sun cream on a couple of hours, or even the night before, start layering on the sun cream, because you will sweat it off as well. So what I often do if I'm doing a race is, as soon as I get up, I put my sun cream on, so it's got 2-3 hours to soak in, and put it on naked as well, so you don't miss any bits. You can get all your cracks and crevices. Hat is a lifesaver. A bucket hat, even better. Sunglasses, anything that can take away the sort of heat. Fool yourself into thinking that it's cooler than it is. I would definitely think about covering up your shoulders, maybe a t-shirt rather than a vest, especially if your shoulders haven't seen the sun yet. You don't want to be burning those, and you don't want any chaffing. Think about buff around your neck, buff around your wrist. Think about where you can cool yourself. You can get your buff in if there is a stream, or in the checkpoints you can dunk it in.
I read something about putting your wrists in the water. That's a good
wrists in the water is a great cooling place. So your key cooling places are your neck, your armpits, your wrists, and your groin, Gary. So if you ever want an excuse to put some ice cubes down your pants,
I don't need an excuse for that. But check the date on your sun cream. This popped up. Martin Lewis, he did a share. You spin the packet around, or the sachet, and it's got a little picture of a bottle with the cap popped open. And basically, once your sun cream, you've opened it, you've got that amount of time before it. I'm not too sure if it completely becomes useless after, say, 12 months or 24 months, whatever the duration is for that product. But give that a check, because if you are, like, say, UTS, wow, you're going to be out there all day long in sun cream. So for the price of, when you add it all up, you might think, oh my goodness, it's expensive, whatever. When you add everything up, it is a drop in the ocean, and it could save your race.
You need to think about your fueling too. Now, we all know fueling when you're hot is harder than when it's a nice, cool, breezy day and you're jogging along. And why is it hotter? Well, heat affects the hypothalamus, so that's the part of your brain that regulates your body temperature and you're hungry. So when you're hot, your body goes, oh, I'm just going to actually, sorry, Gary, I'm going to work on cooling you down. I'm not actually going to work on your digestive system, which can not only make you feel like you're not hungry, but also can then upset your tummy and give you some GI distress as well. You're also filling your tummy with fluid if you're really thirsty, and electrolyte drinks, because you're like, I feel really thirsty, but you're just trying to get that salt balance right. So then your tummy's full and you don't feel as hungry. And then we're in a bit of a cycle, aren't we, of GI distress. And then the nausea might start as well, because your body is just on overdrive. So right from the beginning, try and get that balance right between... Lots of people prefer liquid calories when it's hot as well. They're easier to digest because then your body's not having to work the digestive process as well. So maybe think a little bit about that as well, that it might not be the day. Can you imagine? It might not be the day for cheese and pickle sandwiches. It might be the day.
Wash your mouth
I
out.
think having I think having lots of options is good on a hot day, and not getting stressed if you feel, why am I not, just managing yourself, knowing, I don't feel hungry, I feel bloated. This is because I'm hot. Often, like, understanding that, it takes out the I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to ignore it and carry on running. Yeah. Right, this is what's happening. My brain is trying to cool me down, so I've got to look after my brain by carrying on fueling it. And even if that's just like, sweeties are the only thing I can have, Coke, things that are easy sugars. Yeah. Think about that.
Pick your times. I remember leaning back on some race experience that maybe would start in the morning or in the evening when it was cooler. You probably could eat your Vela Forte bars or your Precision Fuel and Hydration chews, but when that sun is beating down on you, that's not the time to be smashing some salt and vinegar crisps.
I could always smash salt and vinegar crisps.
I don't know. That's the gels and the drinks. That's the Coca-Cola time for me.
Oh, Coca-Cola. And finally, the sort of last thing, you just got to slow down. I mean, I think the people that are savvy with their pacing, nice, slow, steady start, totally in control, they're going to have a nicer day and they're going to be able to manage the problems. And if you go out at the pace, you swallow the ego a little bit and go, I know I want to run this time, I've been training for this race, but you're going to end up with heat stroking in the medical tent or a DNF because your body is just not going to be able to go the pace it normally can. We know, put that heat suit on, half a degree hotter, and the perceived exertion is through the roof. So reset your goals to be like, this might not be the time that I want, but I bet half this field aren't going to finish, but I'm going to be one of those that manage myself and finish, because it's a horrible experience, heat stroke. So my last thing as well is, if you're in one of these hot races, enjoy it. You can get views, but look after each other as well. We talked a little bit about carrying salt tabs. If you go past somebody in distress, just have a quick look at them. Are they doing everything that they can? Offer them a salt tablet, a little sweetie perhaps. Make sure they are sitting in the shade. Do they need help? And then just check they're a Patreon and slowly move on.
Screen grab the podcast.
Is there anything that you would do like on top of that for Old County Tops if it's going to be a blisterer?
It's always been a blisterer, I think, at the Old County Tops. So,
and you've got very little shade. You are really exposed.
Zero shade. I think there's a tiny bit when you come off Helvellyn before you do the kind of long slog to Angleton. Zero shade, but everything, like you said, definitely probably should invest in a filter. So I'm going to be checking out Amazon later today. Salt tabs, great shout. You might not need them. I remember coming towards Cockley Beck and there was 2 athletes ahead of us, and luckily Robbo had some spares.
They can change someone's race. Can change someone's race. That if you and it's cramp is the worst. It's the worst, isn't it? I don't know.
Another book. I do like to rock a bucket cap too, and I look back at the photographs and cringe, but I'd prefer that than having my ears and neck burnt to a crisp.
If you're out there racing, well, it's a blessing to have this weather that we've got at the moment, but look after yourself. Good luck. Let us know how it goes.
But imagine how incredible that'll be. So you slow down a little bit. It's a baking hot day. You slow down a little bit and manage yourself so much better. And then that back end of the race, you're just slowly picking off these wounded soldiers.
Ça va? Cramp? Just chucking your salt tabs.
Yeah. Thanks, Phoenix Light, for sponsoring this week's interview. The best design comes from the actual needs of users. Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as the goal, and born for harsh environments as its mission. Never forget why you started. and your mission can be accomplished. Don't forget, Patreons can enjoy 10% off over at www.phoenixlight.co.uk, and all listeners, this is an update, this is a scoop, all listeners can enjoy 5% off over at phoenixlight.co.uk. I think the discount code is on the Tea and Trails homepage. This week we chat with Lianne van Dijk after her 2025 Northern Traverse second place. I think she showed great spirit. What was another tough year on those trails? Lianne van Dijk is an ultra runner, writer and coach who specialises in trail and mountain running. Lianne shares her experiences and offers coaching for those interested in outdoor endurance sports. And Lianne has competed in various ultra marathons, including the Northern Traverse, where she finished second in the women's race in 2025. And that was a time of 59 hours and 53 minutes. Lianne, a very warm welcome from the Tea and Trails podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. All good. Back running, so I'm happy out.
I was curious, yeah. So what we 3 weeks-ish from the Northern Traverse? Yeah, generally, how was recovery going?
Good, especially compared to last year. It was so much better this year. I was able to walk afterwards, which was a huge improvement and just slightly less embarrassing. So yeah, I did a few days of walking, went for a spin on the bike, I think the Saturday after the race, and got back into running the Sundays. Promised myself I would never run again. I was back within a week.
I think just walking from the seaside in Robin Hood's Bay up to the actual kind of control section, that's tough enough. How did you manage that?
It was fine. And it was, to be honest, it was one of my big goals for this year. Just being able to walk back up that hill, because last year they kind of just had to carry me into a car and drive me back up.
That was where I saw you, Lianne.
I was a broken woman.
You were one of the most broken people when you appeared, and you just kept going, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You've been waiting for ages. I don't think you realize, like, people hadn't. You were still like at the top end of the field, but you were like, you've all been waiting so long for me. I'm so sorry that took me so long. And you were like this complete bog monster of just like, but you were so lovely and so kind, and but you were so broken. Your poor legs had obviously taken a hit, and so I was very kind and went, oh, so nice to meet you, bye. I think the thing is, when you finish those, like, you're all so broken, it's not the time to be like, there's no like, you're just like, I know, I hear you, but I have got to, I can hardly walk myself. But what we really want to talk about in the podcast is this amazing turnaround that you had, because I know that you were really, in our very brief chat, you were really disappointed in that race in 2024. And so obviously you came back, you went out, I followed you obsessively in 2025, watching your dot, and you went out hard. So I've got lots of questions for you, but first of all, can we ask you a question we ask all our guests, which is, where are you? What's the view from your window? And have you been for a run today?
So I am in the southwest of Ireland. I'm in County Kerry. Looking out my window, I can actually see the mountains. This is one of the reasons why I live here. So I can see Tomy's Mountain out my window, which is a lovely mountain. I was up the mountain yesterday. I haven't been for a run yet because it is morning.
You're not up with the larks.
I'm not much of a morning person in general. So.
Oh gosh, well, we're recording early, so this is why we need to break the questions down. I can see it.
Go slowly.
Go slow. Let's start at the beginning. So you've got a mountain out your door. Has that got like nice trails on? What is the mixture of running around you like?
I actually have kind of a love-hate relationship with the mountains that are on my doorstep, because they're a bit rough. They aren't like very runnable trails, which is one of the reasons why, something like the Northern Traverse is just bliss, because you can actually run it. It's just a bit slower going, which also means you get the nicest views. But it's tough going at times.
Is there a sort of trail running community around you, or do you do a lot of solo training?
There is a bit, but I also feel like this area kind of attracts loners like me. There's loads of like outdoorsy people here, runners also, but it's kind of on and off. Like, we all tend to do our own things, but we know where to find each other also. And like, in terms of racing and crewing, like, there's always people out there who are willing to help or cheer you on.
Are there any good local races that people might have heard of, or any good that you'd be like, yeah, come and try this sort of local race?
There's two here in the southwest. So there's the Kerryway Ultra, which is the Kerryway, which is just a long distance trail. Like hikers do it over the course of 5 or 6 days, I'd say, but you can just run it in one go. So that's in September, and it's a really good event. That was my first 100-miler that I did, and that's also kind of when I fell in love with Kerry. And then another one in the southwest is just a different peninsula. It's a bit further south, is the Barroway. In terms of scenery, I think it's nicer. It's a smaller event, and it's still it's still growing. But if you want a proper, just the most scenic one out there, I would say go for Barroway. It's 100-miler as well. It's still one of my favorite race experiences ever. So
what time of year is that one?
That's in May, so you can just do both. That's perfect. If you just want to do a year of Irish 100-milers, do Barroway in May and Kerryway in September. That's you sorted.
We'll be sold out. We'll be there. We'll be there next year. Can you share a little bit about your journey into ultra running? Is it something you've always done? Did you grow up running in the Netherlands?
No, so I grew up doing team sports. I was always active and out and about and training for things. So I did that until I was probably 18 years old. I think you also get to that age where you just want to, do other things with your time as well. And that's the thing with team sports. You have to show up at a certain time and other people have to be there as well. You have your games, the weekends, and it's just not very flexible. I stopped doing that and was just looking for a way to keep fit. So I did a bit of cycling, but then you have to take care of bikes and stuff. So running was just easier. So got into running early 20s, I'd say. I actually did my first trail race in England by accident. So I was living in the Northeast. I had trained up to be able to run for an hour, which was a big deal for me at the time. And I was just looking for a 10K race. So I signed up. I thought it was just a local 10K race, and it was some organizer called Hardmoors.
Awesome.
Ronnie could have given it away, but I was like, so I showed up in my road shoes and didn't have a clue what I was about to do. And I think it was February on the North York Moors.
And I bet it wasn't, how far was it? I bet it wasn't 10K. I bet it was more like 15 miles or something.
Yeah.
I think it was just over. It wasn't too bad, maybe 11, but it wasn't much more. But there were hills and mud. I was sliding down backwards, going uphill, and people were passing me and they were looking at my shoes and they were like, I finished that. At first I was like, that was a mistake. I need to actually start reading descriptions before I sign up for something. But then after a while, I joined their Facebook group, and that's kind of where it all went wrong, because I saw a link to like a Hardmoors 55-miler, I think.
Yeah,
and I just clicked the link and I could see these dots moving. And I was like, what are these people doing?
How long ago was this, Lianne? What's the sort of timeline?
Must have been 10 years ago.
We might have done some of the same races, Lianne. That's kind of my time frame. When I got into Hardmoors, I stumbled across one of their trail marathons.
Do you remember? You thinking, Gary? I seem to remember
who's that
girl
woman sliding down their road shoes on. But it's like a gateway drug almost. You turn up at this Hardmoors. I didn't know anything about trail runs, but I was looking for more marathons, and then yes, these trail marathons were there. And then it was like, oh my goodness me, there's a Hardmoors 30 on New Year's Day. Then there's the Hardmoors 55, and like you say, all these dots. It's a lot to answer for Hardmoors.
And the other thing for me was as well, I was just hanging out at the finish line for a while. So I was seeing like the half marathon runners and the marathon runners. I was watching some of them finishing, and I was like, these are just nice, normal people.
Yeah.
Like they look like I could be that person if I could.
I could be their friends, guys. I could be their friends.
So all of a sudden it just looked very achievable. I wasn't sure about those really long distances, but then I suppose you just kind of keep building and you keep meeting people who are doing these things, and all of a sudden it seems like just a normal thing to do.
Just a normal thing to do. So when did this sort of like even longer stuff creep in? What was your first toe dip into the night horrors?
So my first like longer ultra was the Kerryway. It was after COVID, so it was 2021, I think. So I'd done some shorter ultras before that, but that was like the first time running through the night, dealing with like more breakdown, I suppose. The real struggles of being out there for that many hours.
What was the weather like when you did that?
It was normal. So it was September in Ireland.
That's why I asked, because I thought you could have had apocalyptic weather. So it's actually 200K. It's longer than 100 miles.
Yeah, they're saying it's 200K. I think it's 185.
It looks beautiful. That tickled you. You were like, this is great? Or did you do it and go, never again, I'm never doing that sort of thing again?
I mean, I suppose at first you're always, or while you're doing it, there's always that moment where you feel like, this is stupid. Like, I'm never doing this again. It hurts. Why am I putting myself through this? I'm the same after every race. Then I start thinking and I'm like, what if I'd done that? What if I'd done this? Oh, I could have run that. What if I keep training?
What would a typical week look like for you when you're deep in the trenches of training for one of these big races?
I run a lot, I think. If I'm doing like peak weeks, I'll be going over 100 miles with plenty of climbing. I run 6 days a week. Typically Monday's my rest day. Most of my running is weather dependent. Like if the weather's good, I'll be up the mountains. If the weather is better for just staying lower down, I'll be doing some speed work. I'll force myself to do some speed work. So that's usually how I train. I train kind of weather dependent. I have the flexibility because I work freelance. So I usually I'm looking out the window and I'm like, yeah, this is a good day for X, Y, or Z, and that's what I do.
So why the Northern Traverse 2024? You finished fourth. So the seed must have been planted a long time before that. And obviously you've gone back again in 2025. Yeah, what is it about this race?
I think partly because I already knew some sections, of course. I love running in the Lake District. It's one of my favorite places to run, which is probably the same for most people. I had a bit of a history with the Northeast and it's kind of where everything started. Yeah. So it seemed like, I don't know, just a fun way to kind of celebrate how far I've come and also sort of running towards familiar terrain. I don't know, there was something about that seemed like it could make it easier mentally. I don't know if it actually worked that way. Yeah, and I just love point-to-point routes. I love running and actually going somewhere. So moving through the different national parks and through all the different landscapes and just, using your own feet to get to the other side of the country is just, yeah. That's I still think it's a mad idea, but it's also what makes it so much fun.
Loads of things that you've just said there. We all love the lakes. The Dale's not so familiar. The Vale of York, I think, oh wow, if I've got something on my legs, I might be able to run a little bit here. And then the Moors again, similar journey.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the Moors, it definitely does feel for me like I'm coming home. I'm from the East Coast, the North Sea. Definitely that's kind of symbolism, that point to point. Yeah, everything you said there, it just kind of resonates for me. Obviously, 2024 was a different story to 2025. Is there anything that you took away from 2024 and hopefully correct for 2025?
I was hoping to not get injured. That was number one. And the other one was I suppose, more just the logistics of it, the organization, just being a bit smarter with your drop bag. When I did the North first time, my drop bag was organized at the first checkpoint. And after that, it was just carnage. And especially once you get tired, it gets so much harder to find things. And I started forgetting things, even though I had my checklist. But it felt like so much work to go through all my stuff at every checkpoint. So just being more organized and preparing for the fact that your brain isn't going to be working properly. What I took away from it was I had like a rough plan for 2024 and I never got to execute it because everything just went so differently. So I kind of just wanted to go back and see if I could do that, the thing that I planned, to see if I could actually do that this time.
Did you carry a pebble? I'm always curious with this. Did you pick a pebble up in St. Bees?
I'm greedy. So what I did last year is I picked a pebble in St. Bees, but because I finished and I was so broken and I felt like, the story wasn't over yet. The volunteer actually offered to pick another pebble from Robin Hood's Bay so I could take them both home as a reminder, that there was still, it was to be continued. I still have them. I was going to bring them back, but I was like, no, I'm keeping them. It's a good reminder of, what I went through, I suppose, that year and knowing that you can do that. So yeah, I picked another one this year and I actually brought it to Robin Hood's Bay and left it there. So that was kind of, the book was closed.
Yeah. So is it closure? I think I read somewhere you don't kind of like doing the same race twice. Obviously, you've done this race twice. Is that closed for you now, do you think?
You should never say never, but for now it is. Like, I know I can still do better. I suppose that's the case with any race you do. There's always something, especially over this distance, there's always going to be something that doesn't go perfectly. So even though I didn't have the perfect race, yeah, it's okay. I'm okay with it for now.
I like that.
It's cruel, isn't it? These super long races, the further it goes, the more chances of all these variables coming into play, which you could be the best trained, you could be super hydrated, everything's gone perfect, but then something happens at mile 180 of a 200-mile race, whatever. It's pretty cruel at times.
Yeah, and it's usually not the thing that you're worried about beforehand.
Yeah.
can have all these things that are in your head, like, oh, that one niggle, or I don't know, whatever it is. And then in the middle of the race, it's a completely random thing that just throws you off guard. But yeah. That's also the beauty of it, I suppose.
That's it. Yeah. It's that kind of the jeopardy, I think, keeps us going back, because when it all does fall into place, it is beautiful. Goodness me. I think once probably 100 miler has ever gone well. So yeah, you kind of cling on for those moments and keep going back.
At one time.
Yeah. On the start line, Lianne, plans, tactics, I'm not too sure what you like as an athlete. Are you Googling other athletes, seeing what they've done in previous races?
Yeah, so first of all, I don't like start lines. I actually saw some photos of me at the start line and I look like someone dragged me there.
I know, I hate it too. I hate it. Just get it over with.
I don't like being at start lines. I love running, but at a start line, I'll look around me and I see all these people who are very fit. Their legs are twice as long as mine. They all look like they know what they're doing, and all of a sudden I feel so out of place. And it happens to me every time. It doesn't matter how well prepared I am. I'm just standing there and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Do you think sometimes I think, I could just go back to the B&B, know what I know, it'd be all right. I go down the pub, I could go for a walk.
Yeah, and that's the other thing for me. They usually race starts are usually in the morning, and I don't like running in the morning anyway. So I'm like, they're making me get out of bed. At the start line itself, I just wanted to get going, because I know that as soon as I'm running, that's the thing that you're doing all the time. So I know I'll be fine once I'm moving. But yeah, I didn't Google anyone. I had already decided that I was just going to be there for me. So it was a purely selfish endeavor to my main goal, and it probably sounds cheesy, but I just wanted to have more fun than last year. Because last year, these races are always going to be hard, but last year I was in so much pain, not just discomfort. I was in actual pain for so long, and there were like very long sections that I just blocked out just because I was in my own little world. I just wanted to have a different experience out there. So I knew that if I even had just a normal type of experience, I'd probably be faster, because last year I had to stop in Richmond for an entire night. I was like, even if I can just cut that bit out, my result will be better. My main goal was to just have more fun with it and be able to enjoy a bit more of it.
Why do you think it was so painful in 2024? Was that just because the filthy weather? I think up until Richmond, my memory of, especially night one, it was horrendous.
I don't know. I developed like an injury that I'd never had before. I rarely get injured anyway, but I got tendonitis in both my legs, and it started acting up before Richmond. From Reeth to Richmond, it got really bad. Like I could barely walk that. So that took me hours. It's a pretty short and runnable section. It took me hours to get there. Yeah, and then I was going to go into the night. So this was last year, not this year. I was going to go into the night, but I could barely move. So there was no point, because I was maybe doing a mile an hour.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
And so, it was just, there was no point. So that's why I stopped. I think it was a combination of the terrain, because the mud, it was really slippy, and you're sort of tensing up all the time just to stay upright. And I also blame the car that I drove the day before.
Okay. Let's do this.
So last year there were train strikes, so I couldn't take the train to St. Bees, so I had to get a rental car at the last minute. I'm a very short person, but it was the tiniest car you've ever seen. I was so uncomfortable in that car. So everything was hurting by the time I got to St. Bees. That combined with the terrain, I think that something there just wasn't good.
So when you saw the weather forecast for 2025, you must have been like, get in, it's going to be dry. I'm going to be able to run a lot of
I couldn't believe it. And it's not just the weather during the race, it's also the weeks leading up to it. I was like, it's still dry. It's still dry.
Still dry.
Yeah.
So that first bit, you were screaming fast this year over the lakes section. You were tossling a bit with Lisa Watson's course record a bit. You were ahead quite a bit at some points as well. Did you know that? Did you think I'm going too fast, or were you like, I'm just comfortable, I'm enjoying it, this is great? I
didn't know how fast I was, to be honest. I knew I was faster than the year before, but no, I was just having fun. That was basically what I was doing. And I did dial it back a bit, like consciously in some sections, because I was like, I'm comfortable now, but this is a long race. So I was actually holding back a bit. But so many sections that were just a slog last year because of the weather, it was so runnable now. I decided to just enjoy it and ride the good wave for as long as it lasted. Yeah, I had some company as well. I was running with a few guys. We were sort of going back and forth, but that just, it made it fun and it felt really easy. So
you've got quite a lot of experience now with this longer stuff, and I do wonder, you see, like, how do you ride like that first day you're not running in pain, everything's functioning, your brain is functioning. Is there like, do you think it's better to run these longer races and actually run, like you ran the lake section like 100k almost, like you did on really well in the Lakes Traverse. Do you think almost that's a good way to run it? Like, just get it done when you're running well and take the consequences? Or do you think it's better to hold back even a little bit more?
I think there's something to be said for both strategies, and it's probably there's a bit of I think it's a personality thing as well, and experience maybe also. Like if this had been my first time doing like such a long distance, I would be much more conservative, because you don't even know if you are able, for that distance. But I was fairly confident. I mean, I finished it last year with like everything going wrong. So I was like, I could probably finish it. So I might as well.
If I lose a leg, I can finish it this year. Yeah.
That's quite a powerful mindset to fall back on, isn't it? You know, you did it last year with all that adversity. You're definitely going to finish it this year.
Yeah, because there was so much that worked against me last year. I was like, if even one thing goes right, I'll be a bit faster and slightly more comfortable. So
how was your fueling? What was your strategy going into the race?
So I don't use timers or anything, but I'm pretty good with just eating on the go. So I just eat all the time. That's my strategy.
Have you got a snack of choice that's always welcome?
I eat loads of flapjacks. This year I had peanut butter cups, which is like peanut butter coated in chocolate.
Tell me more.
They're like Reese's, are they, or something?
Yeah, Reese's.
Yeah,
Reese's.
They're easy to eat and they're really high in calories. Like I would never use them for just normal snacks during the day, because it would be, it's very calorie dense. But that's what makes it perfect for these things, because they're gone in like 2 bites. It's more than just sugar, because you get a bit of everything with the peanut butter. They worked really well. When it got hot, I just took so many gels.
What's your gel of choice?
It's usually just whatever's the cheapest. Yeah, I know that there's probably better ones out there, or like everybody's
whatever
on them.
Whatever goes down.
Yeah, and because my stomach's so easy, because with these longer distances, you need so much of them. So I just there's a Dutch brand, Lightning Endurance. They're pretty good. And I use the CIS ones as well, the Beta Fuel, especially because there's just...
I've heard of them. Yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic. Somebody told me you're not supposed to take too many of them, though. I'm not too sure what's in it. But I've heard fantastic.
Oh, they should have told me that.
Maybe it's related to like a road marathon or something like that. But yeah, over a few days. You mentioned the heat there. My memory of the week: cold during the nights, baking hot during the day. How do you cope with that different temperature shift?
That's kind of what became the issue for me. I'm fine in the heat usually. Like my skin, my whole everything. I think I'm kind of built for heat anyway. It doesn't really bother me, but the temperature shifts were just, as soon as the sun went, it was cold. Not just a bit chilly, it was cold, I was fine during the first night. I went up 9 Standards, which is the hill just after Kirkby Stephen, just before sunrise, which is kind of when it is the coldest. And it was very windy up there. I was already wearing all my cold weather kit anyway, because I put that on in Kirkby Stephen. But I got very cold there. I was cold for the remainder of the race after that.
Would it be frosty though? Like during the night, would say, I don't know, if you turned up at camp, would there be like frost on the tents?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Lordstones was just covered in frost when we got there. And 9 Standards, there was frost as well. Yeah. So, but I got very cold there. And then you drop down into, Keld? And there's a valley there and the sun came out and I was running with a few others. And they were all taking off layers. And I was like, yeah, that's probably what you would be doing now. So I did that just because it seemed like, temperature rising. So I don't have to be wearing like 4 or 5 layers anymore. But I was actually shivering. So at some point I put more layers on again. From that moment on, I couldn't stop shivering.
Do you think it was a calorie thing?
No, I was eating loads. I also started coughing. Is there such a thing as too much information on this podcast?
Absolutely not.
Share it all. No filters.
So I started coughing. At first, I always have like a cough like after an ultra. I think it's just your lungs sort of cleaning. But this started much earlier, and it was very, very productive. And after a while, I was like, oh, let me just check, what I'm actually coughing up. And yeah, it didn't look good. It was like green stuff.
That sounds like a chest infection.
Yeah, I think I picked something up somewhere, and maybe I'm actually feverish. It's just energy zapping as well, so, and hard to breathe.
So you got to Richmond this year in a little bit of a better state than you did the year before. How was the bit then after Richmond? I think this is where perhaps being cold and not feeling 100% as well. This is when perhaps things got a bit tough.
Yeah, so I spent quite some time in Richmond just trying to figure out what to do. And I kept asking a volunteer for advice, and he just wouldn't give me. He was like, you should figure this out on your own. Just fair enough. But I just sat there in the tent, and I was looking out, and I was like, it's sunny, it's warm, but I'm cold, but it's going to get colder. So should I be wearing layers, or should I save them, or what's going to help my body, So I did layer up a bit and then saved some for, when it would actually get cold again. But even leaving Richmond, I was still shivering. There was a guy passing me, and he was in shorts and t-shirt, and he said, oh, it's so hot. He was sweating and he was struggling with the heat. And I was like, oh, I'd love to be too hot.
Oh, it really sounds
crazy.
like you were fighting something, like your body had gone into a bit of like, it didn't know whether it was hot or cold or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
So I think it was either the temperature shifts, or maybe I picked something up on the plane, or I don't know what it was. Yeah. So it got to the point after Richmond where I was still eating, I was still drinking, I was doing all the things, but you can just sort of feel your energy. It's just draining. So I got to the point where I was actually starting to worry. I was like, I can get to the petrol station, before you go up to Moors. I wasn't sure if it would be sensible, to go up to Moors feeling like this, because it's going to get more exposed there. It's going to get colder. I mean, as much as we want to have fun and we want to do all these crazy things, like my number one goal is always to not become a mountain rescue case. I've never done this before, but I actually rang event control just to have a chat, because I had no one with me. I hadn't really talked to anyone for hours. So I'd been going through this in my head for many hours. Like, what should I do? Should I go up to Moors? Should I not? It was funny because I rang event control, and Shane answered the phone. All he did was he just said, hi, Lianne. And that sort of snapped me out of it. It's like just someone just human being saying your name. I was like, hi. And all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I already know what to do.
Oh,
so we still had a chat, and it was helpful. But I was like, yeah, I should just get to the petrol station, get warm. It's fine if I'm slowing down. Fiona was about to pass me. Shane was very optimistic. He could see on the tracker that Fiona was closing in on me. So he was very optimistic, saying, oh, you can just run with her for a bit. And I was thinking, well, she'd have to go very slow.
were you all right with that when you knew that she was going to pass you? Were you like, I'm doing the best that I can do right now? She's having a great race. I've just got to keep moving? Or were you a bit like, oh man?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, I could pretend it doesn't. I mean, it's
I know exactly how you would feel.
And even though I genuinely didn't go into the race with the idea of even being on the podium, that wasn't on my mind at all. So I hadn't Googled anyone. I could just see there was a very long start list. So I just assumed that, there'd be some good runners there. I mean, there is a bit of competitiveness, but it's also just the fact that you're struggling. I was feeling really miserable. And just the fact that someone's just jogging past you.
In a shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah, she was fine. And I was like, I just can't. I can see, like, my legs were fine. I didn't have, like, my body was just so confused. So that was more, I think that was more the issue than the racing.
Did you get to the petrol station? Did you go in? Did you get some food and drink?
Yeah, I went in I spoke to the guys there. If anyone knows who works at that petrol station, please. Like massive. They saved my race. They said to me, just take all the time you need. You can sit here. We're working here till 6. I think I got there around midnight. And they said our shift ends at 6. So maybe decide before 6 because we can give you a lift somewhere if you decide to.
Oh, legends.
My God.
And seriously, they could see that I was shivering. They turned up the heating in the entire building just so I could get warm. One guy grabbed a blanket from his car. He said, "Oh no, I have a blanket." So he grabbed his blanket. So I was sitting there in the petrol station with a blanket. They gave me tea. I sat there and I was like, I can't go up the moors when I'm this cold already, you know? So I was like, my goal for now is just need to get warm and then I can make a decision. I think I spent like an hour and a half there and I kept asking them, "Are you sure? Can I stay a bit longer?" And they were like, it's fine. You know, I felt like I was wasting time, but looking back, I'm like, no, I needed that time because I needed to get warm. And then I could see on the tracker that another guy was coming in. So I tagged along with him going up the moors. I said to the guys at the petrol station, if I get into any trouble, I'll just turn around. And I'll still pick you up when you're off work.
Can I come and live with you?
Oh, that's 2A19 road crossings though. That's treacherous on its own, crossing that road twice potentially.
I know, yeah. The guy that was tagging along, we didn't talk much, but he was such a strong hiker. So I just had to work really hard to just keep up with him. And that sort of kept my mind occupied. At least I was warm leaving the petrol station. So that got me to Lordstones.
Was that Rory by any chance? You probably can't remember his name now. I wonder, there was Rory Campbell, don't know him, but because obviously I was so invested in your dot, I'm sure you spent quite a lot of time with him or near him.
Oh no, Rory was ahead of me at that point.
He'd gone.
Yeah.
Okay, I wonder who the strong hiker. Did you start to feel better now?
A bit, and especially mentally. So I'd already had all the thoughts of what am I even thinking? Do you really think you could do 300k? You know, that's
you worthless piece of why you even.
Yeah, everybody's watching your daughter. Everybody thinks you suck.
Disgrace.
Yeah.
To the Dutch nation.
Everybody's laughing at you.
Oh, and of course they're not. Oh. And I so get that because having been a dot at many of these things, but also being the dot, like all you want when you're watching that dot is I was just looking at your speed, and I was like, come on. Oh, she's got it. She picked it up. She did it in the muffin. She's been in the garage. Like, you're just creating this story. You're just willing. There's so much positive energy going in. Have you slept yet? Have you had a sleep yet?
No. So that's the funny thing. When I said, like, there's always things beforehand that you think, you know, I'm really bad at staying awake during races usually. So that was one of my worries. It wasn't an issue at all. I had a nap at the petrol station, just, you know, at the table. And after it, I was fine.
You didn't sleep then for the rest of the race?
I took a few naps on the moors. I didn't go into Lordstones because, like, that would be the dumbest thing for me to do because I would get cold again.
Yeah.
And I would be back in this, getting myself into the same situation again. So I kept going. But I came into Lordstones still thinking I might just stop because I promised myself I was going to have more fun this year. I was like, I'm not having fun at all.
I really do think this is I don't think that the word fun and these long races can very easily go hand in hand. I think all the fun comes afterwards and the preparation for them is super fun. I think the actual race sucks. Whatever.
I actually had fun. The last section I had the most fun I've ever had at the end of a race.
You were feeling better. You were moving better.
Yeah, so Lordstones to Glaisdale was tough. It was baking hot, but I was cold. I was wearing 3 layers middle of the day. I was thirsty, but I was cold, you know, so still something was definitely off. But then I came into Glaisdale. They were looking at me funny because I was all sunburnt, but I was also in long sleeves and leggings and it was a very strange combination going on. But as soon as you're in Glaisdale, you just know you're going to finish it. When I left Glaisdale, the sun was it was afternoon, so at least the sun wasn't at its highest anymore. I just convinced myself that I was fine now. I was like, no, you're fine. You're no longer cold. You're moving. Your legs are fine. You've been so slow for the last 100K. You are just going to run now.
I like
and
this.
that's what it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you switch that mindset. I'd like to go back a little bit though. This is like multiple nights with little sleep hallucinations? Did they play out?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, maybe not.
What is it, Monday morning? So yeah, after the morning after the second night. So I didn't have it during the night, which was unusual. I went up, what's it called, Waynestones, and the sun had just come up. There were people everywhere. I was like, this is so nice of them. Like all these volunteers, you got up early to cheer us on, and I was like, this is but they weren't saying anything. So I was like, why would they go all the way up here and then not even give you a cheer or something, you know? And then a guy came up behind me and I just checked with him. I was like, they aren't here, are they? And he said no. But he said there are people who would pay a lot of money to experience this. So
I just enjoy it. And it's funny because when you talk about it, it makes me feel a bit frightened and it gives me the shivers a bit. But when you're in it and you're experiencing it, I've never found hallucinations scary. I'm always just like, oh, okay, you're a bush, you're a rock, you're not real.
Yeah.
But it's not a frightening experience. I know some people see frightening things, but often I just find it, and I almost deep dive into it now as well, because I'm like, well, it's keeping me entertained.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yeah, it's rare, you know, you have to go to pretty great lengths to experience it. So
How do you know it's going to be okay? Like you said, before I'd ever had an hallucination, I was a bit freaked out how I was going to react. But the reality is it's always been quite pleasant. So yeah. Fun times. Yeah,
I don't mind them, and it's never anything scary. So no, I sort of hallucinated my way to Robin Hood Spade. It never went away. So
you and your friends, all your friends, off we go. How did it feel then, that last bit of coast path coming round to Robin Hood's Bay? Was there a sense of like you've come through a lot, but were you happy, sad?
I was ecstatic. I was just. I will never be able to explain to someone how I felt. It was just, even now I'm going to, I was best running experience I've had so far. Yeah. I think also because last year, you probably remember what that path was like.
Do you remember trying to hold the fence? I hadn't got any poles because I'd broken them. And I couldn't get up the hill because it was so muddy and I was holding the fence. And it must have been dry for you. So
last year, you come onto that path and then you're about to turn right. And I looked to my right last year. And
you must have thought, I can't do it.
Path. Yeah. And I was like, no.
No. Shane, I'm not.
No. Like last year, my heart sank. And I was like, this is it. I was genuinely, the thoughts I had on that path. At some point last year, I looked left of me and I was like, should I just...
Oh no, Lianne.
You know, it was so hard. I think it took me, because it's like 5 kilometers, I think, to the finish from there. I think it took me maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Last year I had, because you're reading your texts afterwards, you know, and I got these texts from people who were saying, oh, you're nearly there. And then it was like an hour and a half later, you're still nearly there.
How do you see the mail? I'm always curious because I sent a few messages out this year, but I suppose, would you need to go on the open tracking page to see your mail, or does that get somehow text to you? I'm not too sure you get that.
Last year they gave us printouts at most checkpoints. This year I only got one. I think only at Lordstones.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like when I'm feeling really miserable, I'll just grab my phone and go to WhatsApp. And I mute. My strategy is I mute everyone except for a few people. And if I see a message from them on my WhatsApp, I'll read it or I listen to their voice note. But only the people that I know are going to be either helpful or a bit persuasive. But this year I came onto the coastal path. I looked to my right and it was bone dry. It was like
I was drop some 10-minute
pace. Like firm ground underneath my feet. The section before that I'd been running already. I'd been passing people and I was already feeling really good. I was still taking nutrition. My legs were still fine. That was the thing for the entire race. I was like, my legs are fine. You just need to have the energy, you know?
Yeah.
And I think when you're nearly there, you can have, you know, that last boost.
Bit of adrenaline.
Yeah. And I'd been looking at the time and I had realized that I could still finish under 60 hours. That had never been on my mind, but all of a sudden that became a goal. That just became the most important thing in the world. So all of a sudden I was, there's these steps and there's ups and downs and twists and turns. And I was just, looking at my splits, I wasn't that fast, but I was running.
I think it's awesome. The end of a race when you're moving well and your mind's positive. Yeah, that's a wonderful. And
also just knowing, I remembered how I felt last year and how completely broken I was last year. And it was like, I still didn't have like the perfect race and I probably could have done some things better, but running that, and there was nobody out on the trail. It was just before sunset. The light was perfect. Everything was perfect. There was nobody out there and it was just me and I was running. Can't beat it.
You sound super positive now. It's great to have that kind of 3-week reflection. But when you finished, has your kind of memory of the race shifted? Like I said, it seems really positive now, but as you cross the line.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have this conversation like the week after because, I've only just gotten to this point, I would say, because it was going so well. Your first thought is just, what if I just felt better for the entire thing? I was also thinking at first when I just finished, I was like, I could still run. Like maybe I didn't try hard enough, for the rest of the race. But then, like you wouldn't have been able to put in that effort for the entire thing. It's just not possible. Yeah, it took me a few weeks to just convince myself, I suppose, that you're always doing what you can in that moment, and it's always easy to say afterwards, oh, maybe I wasn't feeling that bad. Maybe I could have tried harder. No, I did what I could. I had the best time in the lakes. I had a strong finish and I problem solved in between. And that's all you can do.
It's a handbook to running 200 miles. Have the best time, problem solve, make some friends in garages, and then finish strong. So we've had some time now to reflect. Have you got plans for the rest of 2025?
So I'm past that point. You always promise yourself, oh, this is the last race I do, and you never have to do this again. I'm not thinking that anymore, but I am kind of I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Do I really want to go through this over and over again? Or am I more of a runner and do I just want to run races and just cut out that bit in the middle where you're just
groveling around in garages making friends with random
because I actually
people.
had a conversation with a volunteer at some point at an aid station and he probably just thought I was overly emotional, but I was looking at him and I said, the problem is I really love running. Like, why am I doing it? I love running, I like running. I'm training for running. Why am I I just walked like 2 kilometers in an hour. Why
That's a great point. That's a good point. I think this with, the spine race and all those kind of races, they are very seductive. And my goodness me, even at walking pace, they are super hard challenges. But like you say, while I can run, I think, I really enjoy running.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what I want and what's giving me the most joy, I suppose. And I want to have a fun summer. I don't want to race too much this summer and just go to the Alps again and run some mountains without having to hit a certain distance goal or a mileage for the week, just have fun. And I'll do something in September, I think, but there's so many options. I'm not sure yet.
Entries for the Fultraverse, they are sold out. So if anybody's listening to this thinking, oh my goodness me, I'd love a slice of that
pie. I want to be
the lakes, the dales and the moors, they are still available. Any tips? If anybody's thinking, I wouldn't mind a bit of that.
For me, the main thing is because some people messaged me afterwards and they hadn't even done like 100-miler yet. And they were saying, I want to do the Traverse. I genuinely don't think you always have to do bigger distances for it to be special or for it to be worth it. I think you don't even have to do 100-milers if you don't want to. Yeah, just pick a distance that suits you. And I do think you don't always have to completely break yourself for it to be, something that's to be admired. I think just find something that you would enjoy and don't try to always go for like the biggest thing that you see other people do. I think I'm still processing, is this something that I want to keep doing? I mean, I want to run, that's for sure. I love long distances and I love being out there for long times, but
is it worth it? What is it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, you're in that total was that worth it?
There's a price to pay. Like emotionally, physically, if you do enjoy running, then you're probably not going to run for months and months and months after, or compete at least. If you keep doing races like the non-Traverse spine race,
and I think for every one of these long runs you do as well, you take a chip out of yourself. You know that's gone.
Oh, yeah.
You've used up a little bit of your life source to get yourself to that finish. You'll never be the same person again.
I was talking to a friend after the race, and he has done some really long races as well. And I was asking him, like, what percentage of the race do you enjoy, and what percentage of the race are you like, just shoot, kill me now, you know? And he said I still don't believe it, but he said like that part, like the really negative part for him was like less than 1%.
Who's this guy? He's
I mean, I think that's exceptional. Post reverse is actually, I have spent a lot of time being just, it's not like I enjoy hardship in a way, but this was deeper, you know, just questioning more than just your running choices.
I think there's a definite group we could set up here of sort of like self-help. Can we talk about this? Is this a safe space? Where did you go? But I also don't think that needs to necessarily be a negative as well, because when in life, I can't think like we paid for to be put in a situation where you come face to face with yourself and go, I found out some stuff about myself. I was a deep, there's nothing left in you. You're a total raw, and you've just got to keep moving forward. Though I know still 3 weeks is very short time. You might not be, it might be months, but don't think that, why? Because I was there. So if I was there, there were hundreds of other women that were watching your doc going, this woman is a warrior. We want to be more like her.
I think that's kind of also what makes it complicated for me, though, because people say that. At the same time, I'm like, you don't know. Like, I was a complaining, whinging mess.
Yeah, but we're all like that as well.
And people are using these words.
This is awful. I hate it. Who are you? What are you doing?
People are using these big words, and I'm like, you should have seen me. Like, I was feeling so sorry for myself. I'm not some tough warrior. Like,
you are. You sorted yourself out. You might have looked like a little wrapped up gnome, but inside.
Oh, those guys at the pretzel, they were worried for me when I decided to leave again, because they never thought they thought my race was over. And I was like, no, I need to at least try, That's what my parents told me. You need to at least try. Stepping, I think that was kind of where I knew I was going to finish, just stepping outside of that petrol station, just going out again when you've been nice and warm, and not knowing if your body is going to manage it very well. As I was saying it to him, I'll turn back if I'm not feeling well. I kind of knew that. Nah.
Yeah.
No way. There's no way.
Awesome. Quick 5 questions. Ooh, are there any snacks you miss from the Netherlands that you just can't get in Ireland?
Oh my God, the licorice.
In Finland, they really love their licorice too. Is it quite lots of different types of licorice? Because we in England just kind of do one type of licorice. So they have the red licorice, but
and it's not even
licorice.
a good one. It's not even a good one.
Do they do ice cream?
There's an entire aisle of just licorice.
Do they do ice cream licorice too in Netherlands?
I don't know. That doesn't sound.
They do that. Well, that is a big deal in Finland. They do licorice flavored ice cream.
Really?
So. Yeah. Super.
I can't even imagine what that would be like. Oh.
Well, I'm not a fan of it, but it is really popular. Oh, Eddie and I, we turn up at your house. We are famished. What are you going to cook us up? What is your signature dish?
I don't know. I'm like the worst host. So I live on my own, and I'm either working or running or sleeping. I eat the same meals over and over again. And
That's okay.
And I eat loads of porridge. So I might just give you
porridge. I'd love a bowl of porridge.
Do you know what I do? When I've got really busy days, is I just soak some oats in my fridge, and I'm just like, at some point I'm going to need a meal. I'm going to need to eat that. I'm going to eat that in the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I know I'm getting the carbs, I'm getting some protein. It's good. I put some blueberries on it. Done. I think fancy meals are overrated when you're busy.
Yeah. No, so you probably get porridge, so.
Okay. Nice, delicious.
We'll bring the berries. and the seeds. You can bring.
Oh yeah, I have berries and stuff as well. So yeah,
fancy porridge.
Bucket list race. Yeah, any race in the world. Which one would you go and do?
I'm probably supposed to say something to give like a really spectacular answer now.
I think Western States is probably the most popular if we catalogued back over the
Really?
years of doing this. Yeah, that seems to be quite a common bucket list race.
You know, the thing is, I don't really like big races. I feel like the start line
Yeah.
of the tours is crowded enough for me. Things like
Okay.
UTV don't appeal to me at all.
It's not for
That's
you,
like my
no.
nightmare.
Yeah.
So I genuinely don't know.
I think those American trails, though, because I'm sure it's something in their constitution. They can't overload the trails. It's in
Yeah, it's only
kind of-
350 on the Western States
Yeah.
start. So it would just
But
be
I'd be
getting
lying
past.
if I would give that as my answer now. No, I don't know. Like, I'm signed up for the Spine Challenger North for next year. And that's I am excited about that. So I would love to do something big in Scotland at some point, but I don't even know what I would be doing there.
Oh, this is always a tricky one. Last film, it could be like a YouTube documentary. It doesn't have to be something like physically at the cinema, but yeah, something that you last remember watching.
So I should probably tell you what I do for work. I'm a translator and I do loads of subtitles. So
That's an interesting job. Wow.
I watch all kinds of stuff all day, and I barely watch anything in my spare time because that's the last thing I want to be doing. So
I can't believe we only started on this. So you're watching it. Are you watching it in Dutch and then translating it to English, or the other way around?
No, I'm watching it in English and I'm translating to Dutch.
So do you have to keep stopping, or are you like?
Yeah, because people think you can just do like loads of episodes in one day, but usually if you get through one episode of like a TV show in one day, you're doing pretty well because you're
Like
constantly
EastEnders and stuff like that, Coronation Street, all those kind of programs.
all kinds of things.
Wow.
So it's American stuff and it's BBC, it's all kinds of. So people think, like, my friends are always joking, oh, Lianne's just watching TV for a living.
So that must be really hard because obviously the words often don't relate. Really hard to get the right words.
You're also limited in terms of time, because you can say much more than you can read. In the course of a few seconds. So you usually you just need to dumb it down a lot, and you need to.
I want to get out for my run. It's a sunny day. Yeah, she looks upset. I'm upset.
Goodness me, I could have been guessing all day long. I would never have guessed that as a career.
Yeah, what amazing.
How did you get into that?
Oh, it's a long story. I used to do something completely different, and then I was looking for something flexible, and I was like, what skills do I have? And I thought, well, my English I'm not a linguist or anything, so I just did an assessment, and apparently it was good enough, or they were just really stuck. But I've been doing it for years now, and it's perfect because as long as I meet my deadlines, I can work whenever I want. So right now, it's probably the same in England. The weather's so good. So I'm out running in the afternoon, and I'll work when it's dark or when it starts raining again.
Do you have to watch stuff that's a bit scary or stuff you don't want to watch, though? Or can you choose your genre of stuff?
Yeah, they offer you jobs, and I don't like horror. I've never watched it for fun anyway, so I don't do that. There's some bad TV shows that you just need to get through. But there's interesting things as well. Sometimes you just get to watch like an interesting documentary. The worst thing is car shows, or like things with like all these technical words that are just hard to translate, or that I wouldn't even use in any language,
Okay.
So,
yeah. Boring. Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
Boring.
This is a car thing.
I'm going to know now. I'm going to start watching some Dutch TV and go, she's translated this. It's a big blank.
Every week we share the podcast over on Instagram. You get to choose the Instagram story music, Lianne. What's it going to be?
So during the Traverse, I made a playlist for myself, and I called it Weird Punk Rock Mess. That's the type of music that I used to listen to when I was a teenager, and my English wasn't very good. So I actually compiled a playlist because I recently realized that I can actually understand the lyrics now. And it's been fascinating to just re-listen all these songs.
I love
because
it.
I would be like on my bike, going to school, and I would just be on my bike. Like, and now I can actually hear, and I'm like, oh.
Incredible. Love it. Have you got your phone with you? See what's on your Spotify.
Yeah, I'll have a look here.
What was the last song you listened to, Eddie?
Ordinary by Alex Warren. I'm really enjoying that.
This one would be applicable. Do you know Basket Case, Green Day? It's one.
Yeah.
Do you have the time to listen to one?
That's how we played when you went into the checkpoints.
It would have to be the first bit, though.
Excellent. We will do that.
Lianne, thanks so much for coming on, sharing your race journey, a little bit of your life journey, sharing a little bit of the trauma as well, which is always good to share. We're always here. We're always here to talk. Super well done. You made the Northern Traverse for me. I loved having been a little part of your journey in 2024. I was rooting for you and I loved following you. And you made the drama. You brought the drama. It's a good. I
feel like I did 2 years of that now.
You brought the drama to the race. But you made the women's race really exciting. I loved seeing you so brave, going out so fast and then coming through what was really tough as well. Huge kudos. Look forward to seeing perhaps what you decide to do in 2025, but enjoy your adventures and your downtime as well. You really deserve that. So thank you so much.
Will you go back to the Traverse?
Gary and I were going back. Well, I'm going back.
Really?
He's making his debut.
You haven't put me off, Lianne. All of your tales hasn't put me off.
Oh, it's so funny because last year I wrote a race report. I always write a report after big races. And last year I wrote a report with it's so long and it's just so much drama and pain and suffering. And there were so many people after reading that who were like, I want to do that.
I know. Well, Lianne, I do this podcast and then people are like, I've signed up, Eddie. And I'm like, wow, people are weird.
You can't say I didn't warn you. I mean,
can't say you didn't warn me, but we can return the favor. You can just pin your eyes on that dot and be like, pop in at the garage. Steve and Paul will look after you.
Yay.
Say I sent you.
This will be so much fun. Oh, that's cool though. I'll definitely be I'll be cheering you on.
Thank you. Thanks so much for giving up your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Take care. Okay. Bye. Thanks, Harrier Trail Running, for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trails section. Harrier is the UK's fastest growing brand for trail runners, providing specialist kit designed for superior fit, comfort and function with the best customer support. Check them out for race vests, waterproof poles and other trail essentials at www.harrierrunfree.co.uk, where you can also download your free copy of How to Run an Ultra guide. Use the code T10 for 10% off site-wide, or check out their brilliant trail bundles for a special 20% off. Also, check out their awesome competition from Harrier, Precision Fuel Hydration, Phoenix and VJ. I posted a link in the Facebook group, but yeah, you got to be super quick for this. Entries close Friday the 16th of May at midday. So if you are an early bird listener, then check it out. I will be super interested. I've had my eyes on the VJ Ultra 3, so I'll be super interested to hear Sam's thoughts on them. First up in the Strava Club is Ian Crozier, 59.9 miles for the week with the longest run of 7.7 miles. That must be the shortest, longest run we've ever read out on. But there's a reason for that. Ian, 2,999 feet for the week, but there is a reason for that. Ian was first place in a race the previous week. That was the Two Castles Trail race, but still lots of miles for the week. Quite a few miles with your club mates too. Look great. Dom Harley next, 61.5 miles for the week. Longest run of 25.9 miles with a total vert of 4,400 feet. He must have the Centurion South Downs way coming up because he's done some recce's. Not long now, Dom. 14th of June, I think. So, yeah. 4 weeks. Last up is Susan Naismith, 72.4 miles with the longest run of 55.2 miles and a total vert 8,104 feet. Susan smashed the Caterham Trail Ultra at the weekend. Another incredible looking race. Just another one to add to the list. We are absolutely, my goodness me, we are in the thick of race season. So much going on. And kudos to all our Strava Club members. I love seeing what everyone has been up to. And yes, sometimes I do sprinkle a little bit of kudos over on Strava. It's my Hollywood handshake. Oh, cringe even saying that. Tales from the Trails.
I suspect you'll get a few tales from the trails this week, having already had my moment of glory when I sent in an intro whilst doing the Hellfire events Backyard Ultra back in October. Please feel free to pop this in the trash. Of course we're not going to do that. The Northern Traverse, where to start? There are so many fantastic characters out on the trail. From fairly early on, I found myself needing to step aside for a guy named Rob to let him past on the downhills. He would say, I just loved the feeling of flying along. I've given him that accent. I'm not sure what accent he's got. At one point on the run into Ennerdale, I found myself on a thin pass and couldn't let him pass, so I hit the gas so as not to mess up his flow, knowing it would likely cost me later in the long run. I later caught up with him along the edge of Ennerdale Water when he was chatting to a Scottish lady named Fiona. I didn't see Rob again until I was having my blisters seen to by a super medic Flick at Kirby Stephen, who was draining them where needed and applying some lovely soft stuff over my biggest blister zone that held together nicely for the rest of the experience. Having not followed Eddie's advice on wearing full kit in the sleeping bag, I shivered my way through an hour's kit before mustering myself for another day on the trail. As a newbie to such silly ideas as running with days after day after lots of running, I was daunted about getting up again on my broken feet. But with Flick's advice and some extra bits of strapping in my first aid kit, I was pretty much ready for action. Rob and I took off and headed straight for the ice cream parlour. Oh, my tummy had only just stopped, so I didn't brave the ice cream, but Rob sorted me out with a can of Fanta instead. Rob's knees were pretty shot. He told me he was raising money for Alder Hay after his nephew was diagnosed with leukemia, which was helping him get through the pain. I felt pretty awful leaving him on the climb up 9 standards, and once I'd shaken my phone into action at the end, I was relieved to see he'd safely retired at Richmond. Oh, that's unlucky, Rob. Hopefully you'll come back for another attempt. There's so much more I could tell you from this little adventure about how I picked up the place from the Tea and Trails Facebook group one night after playing the Lord Mayor of Coventry in Nativity the Musical in York back in November. We need a whole podcast on that one. About the flood of emotions at seeing my wife and Reith having rushed down the hill in the hope of the Dales Bike Centre still serving soup. About my mum and dad meeting me unexpectedly up on Blakey Ridge for a pint of lemonade in the Lion Inn. About chatting to Lee Caves about this year's hallucinations and whether I was one of them in Finningdale's Village Hall after the finish. Let's not forget about the friendly and helpful staff and support team who really gave their all throughout. And Katie, the medic at Lordstones, whose advice about shaping my foot and knee out and massively reduced my IT band discomfort. So many little moments of gold out on the course, but it's only Tuesday. Well, we must have sent this really close after the Northern Traverse. I'm still a bit worried about Rob, so that's what you're getting. Oh, thanks so much for inspiring us all each week and helping kit us out with enough knowledge and expertise to get us through our little adventures. All the best, Dave. Dave, I hope you're doing better now. We're a bit late reading that out, but you sound like you had a great time with lots of adventures. Out on the trail, as we always do, making new friends and then worrying about them. I know it's hard when you've been running with someone for a long time, then you have to leave them. It's a hard thing to do when you're doing these mega adventures. So well done.
It is weird that you spend hours and hours with these people and then they all go back to their own lives. And sometimes it's really sad. Don't be a Debbie Downer. They
want to be your friends, Gary. You don't want to keep messaging them and there's nothing.
Blocked. Workout.
Yeah, go on, I love it.
Workout of the week.
And before you do that workout, you need to say that to yourself as well when you warm up for this. Workout.
Breathe and believe.
Week. I thought we'd do a little bit of this is quite a good one just as we are getting into race season now. And it's also a really good one that you can mix and match depending on your size hill. So I've given some time guides, but often when I run up and down and I'm doing hill reps, I just go to the tree. I just go to the fence post. I go to a good, so there's a bit of timeline. So basically, okay, so have a good warm up, kids. Do your normal warm up, whatever you do. And then we're going to do a descending ladder of hill. Now, you don't sprint up the hill. We use the hill to raise the heart rate. So you don't need to start super fast and be dying at the top. You want to get strong. You want to maintain your form. So I've suggested 2 by 60 seconds, 4 by 45 seconds, 6 by 30 seconds. Strong up, recover down. Strong being the word, not sprint, my dear friends. Strong. You can do whatever you want, but go down in time, basically. You can add more. Probably Gary will say, I did 13 by this. I did 20 by that. That's the sort of guideline. This will be on Facebook, by the way, if you're like listening to this going, I kind of. So a little bit. So basically, you do your hill work, up and down, feeling good. Then we go straight into, and this is one of my classics, I absolutely love doing this myself and saying this for my athletes, setting into a little bit of a race pace flow, a little bit of groove. You've taken the edge off your legs, the edge of it, and then you go and you find flattish bit of trail, undulating bit of trail. It doesn't really matter. About 15 to 20 minutes. I never put a time on it. So if I'm feeling good, I might do 20 minutes. If I'm not feeling good, I might just do 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Get into a nice steady, that sort of low zone 3 sort of feel. I could run for quite a long time at this pace, but I'm running a little bit faster than my easy run, but not quite as fast as tempo. I realise that that's quite tricky to do, but have a go, play around with it. And often this is a great way for learning paces, because if you start off too fast, you're just going to go downhill. So this is a great way for learning what actual pace you can hold as well. There we go. Have a little go.
I like this kind of workout it's kind of like a bit of a cross-country simulation, because you're grafting up the hill and then you're racing afterwards. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great one. And also it's sort of like a hidden workout as well, because actually you're getting quite a lot of workout in that. But because it's broken down into different parts, you can sort of gaslight yourself into believing you're just doing 2 little short reps and a nice little run afterwards. And you can rinse yourself as much as you want on it as well. You can go harder if you're like, I'm going to do a really hard session, or you can use this as a bit of a tune-up as well. You're welcome.
I will be giving this one a miss this week, the way do you?
You could do it on Old County Tops within the race.
Within the race.
Come on, Robbo. Let's go.
But I'd love it, if you could share all your pics and your Strava screenshots over on Facebook.
Yeah, I was hungry for those Strava screenshots.
So we've just finished our first 6-day race, and I'd like to nominate Justin for the podcast binge world record. Incredible. Some months ago, he asked me for a good podcast recommendation, and of course, I said Tea and Trails. He had a big back catalogue to get through.
Oh my God.
Made a major dent listening for the whole of the race. It was called 6 Days in France, but for Justin, it was 6 days with Eddie and Gary. That's like some FBI torture, isn't it, or something?
Read the last sentence she wrote.
And I think we all need to take a moment to consider that. Breathe and believe.
Thank you, Melissa, for sending that in. Well done, Melissa and Justin. That race looked nuts. 6 days around a French campsite. It sounds like some of my holidays.
We love your tales from the trails and reviews. Please keep them coming. Pop over to Spotify and Apple Podcast for the reviews, and email your heavy flexes and tales from the trails to hello@teaandtrails.com. Thank you, Protein Rebel, for bringing us home, gentle on your stomach, driving your performance. Whether you're trying to get a PB or training for your first marathon or completing your 10th ultra, Protein Rebel's products are easy to digest with no artificial additives, providing both performance and overall health benefits. And shout out to, yes, the first ever Protein Rebel running festival. It's going to be held on the 5th of July in Cheshire. There's going to be a 10k trail run, followed by 2 hours of inspirational speakers, including Laura Swanton Ruvelin, Ben Bungle Taylor, Rhino Boy Chris, and more. It's like a Guy Ritchie film, isn't it? All the kind of nicknames. There's also going to be a 2.5k fun run, mini athletics for kids, on-site calf, a massage tent, and much more. It sounds ace. Competition time. The awesome team at Summits are providing this month's prizes to be in with a chance of winning some awesome Summits goodies, socks and caps. Also, we're going to be throwing in a Tea and Trails hoodie just to top up that prize pot. You need to pop over to Instagram, like this post, share the post to your stories, follow Tea and Trails and Summits UK on Strava, and in the comments mention what would be your bucket list mountain to summit. This competition closes at midnight on the 31st of May 2025. This competition is for Instagram only. 2 winners will be contacted by direct message. What is coming up, Edwina?
I feel I've had my week already, because I've done all my climbing, but I'm going to save that to tell you about that next week. But I'll tell you the full story behind my hooded, tired eye. So I've done a mega day, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And then the rest of this week is gonna spend downing Protein Rebel powder. While you were reading all that out, I was like, I'm gonna smash a protein smoothie after this.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it amazing when you've done something mega, how your body craves protein? It's like, well, maybe it's just my middle-aged body, but I'm like,
salt for me, salt and protein.
It's hard when you do your big day on a Monday, because then the rest of the week you're like,
Where'd you go from that?
Where do I go? So everything's going to be a disappointment. As I drove home, I've been so looking forward to it, and it's a bit like, back to real life. I'm not planning what I'm going to do yet because I didn't realize how smashed I was going to be. But I'm hoping it's just a byproduct of bad night's sleep and I'll be back the 5 a.m. club tomorrow morning. But I'm going to be kind to myself because I tell you what, my races are knocking on the door, Gary. And I just suddenly I was like, 100 miles in 4 weeks.
Can you have crew?
I don't even, I'm not going to have crew anyway because I'm using it as a recce for the big dance.
Yeah.
So I will just take my time, jog around at checkpoints. I don't want anybody going, come on, off we go. Yeah, you know how I do, Gary? You know how I can because I'm not competitive at all. And it's really easy on myself.
It removes a lot of heavy lifting, doesn't it? If you don't have to worry about crew too.
I can't. And I've had to book accommodation 11 miles away from the start because I left it to last minute. I don't even know how I'm going to start. Oh, God, I'm going to have that conversation with Bryn going, can you drive me 2.5 hours to the start?
Just be nice to him. 3 days following. Fry-ups, KFC, takeaways.
No judgy comments.
Beer,
no, like,
exactly.
Here's your laundry, none of this. I can't dig a pit now. So I'm going to just take this week nice and easy. If I do a workout, it'll be definitely at the back end of the week. I've written in my plan. I was like 4 hours on Friday, and I was like, who wrote this plan? What do I want to do?
But that's why I'm thinking, how much energy, how long can I be doing these big super duper long races? Because
it's so much
I really enjoyed my
energy.
13 miles on Sunday. That was awesome.
As I was hobbling down the climbs yesterday with my gammy knee that I'm pretty sure has got nothing left in it, its refusal to bend.
Bone
I
on
did
bone.
think, bone on bone. I did think, how is this good for us, Gary? How is this good for us? Anyway, we're not finishing on that. It's all good for us. It keeps us young. Not sure if you'd seen me getting out the car after the school run today, you'd have gone.
I wonder how much you have to do as a human being to survive on the planet. What we do is extreme by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes,
but how much?
Is this what you tell your neighbours? What I do, guys, this is extreme. You know, you put your bins out, I just raise you.
But how much could you get away with to be optimally as fit as you need to be? To extend your life, your longevity.
I'm not even sure that I'm fit, Gary. I'm pretty sure I'm just constantly exhausted. I'm not sure that, like, if someone said, is this woman fit? I think they'd go, well, she's really good at running a long way, but the rest of her life...
We're fit for dystopia. You know, if like the world fell apart and we had to like run for hours to get food or whatever it was.
Yes, basically. That's what, whenever people go, oh my God, I'm like, all I can do is run in a straight line for a very long way. Don't ask me to do, bend down and get the pizzas out the oven.
See, I always think like if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'd run out of food really quick, but I'd go up a mountain because zombies don't climb mountains very well. Not the zombie films I've seen anyway, so... Okay,
we're safe. Okay, right, I'll go up the mountains. What about you? You got a race week.
Race week. I don't know why we do it ourselves because I'm feeling really anxious. Mentally...
Does it the fact that you're doing it with a partner does that give you composure or does it make you more nervous?
Oh no, that does add to it because normally a race for most of us at least, I am not luxury to be challenging the podium or anything like that. Some races are just time trials. Historically, that's what they are. Try and chase a sub 3 marathon, sub 24 Lakeland 100, whatever it is. But when you are with a friend, you've got to show up. So yeah, that does, for me at least, adds a layer of anxiety. When it's all done, then all those memories are much more enriched for doing it with somebody else. But building up to it and probably for a few hours into that race before you kind of find out how it's actually going to go. Yeah, I definitely think it lays on a bit of stress. I just think the whole thing for me personally, and I'm greedy when I say this most weeks, it's too close to London. I've lost a little bit of focus. Well, I don't think that's fair on me, actually. I think I had to taper for London ever so slightly, and then I've had a bit of recovery, and then I'm straight into this taper for all county tops. It just disrupted my chi, and I've not really enjoyed it. I would have preferred to have stocked up on some matches that I'm about to kind of burn big time on Saturday, and I just don't think I've had enough time to do that to probably go to the well again. We will see. I'm just curious on the level of effort I should do for a 9-hour race. I'm thinking aerobic. And maybe on the climbs, you are going to be forced to go into threshold, and then you'll recover a bit as you're going down the other sides too. So that is my plan. We do have these desires on being the the age category winners for that V100 category. So to a certain extent, I'm normally quite a reserved racer. I pace things really well, unless the wheels fall off, nutrition or nausea. Generally speaking, I pace things really well, but that probably doesn't win you races. That might give you a nice experience. Maybe I do have to bury myself a bit. Either way, it looks like another scorcher on the fells. It would be awesome. I'd love to get a PB, which would take, I think it's 8:55 as our PB on that course. So if we can come away with a PB in our age category, there might be some like smoking fast, like Rob Jebb or someone like that, who's like really, really fast fell runner, just drops into our age group. So I have no idea who we are racing against, but a PB, that would be awesome. To hang your boots up on a PB, I'd be pleased with that.
Let's see. We'll wait for your feedback next week. Cannot wait. Oh, you mentioned there was a whisper that Robbo might make a little podcast appearance next week to tell us about the race. He was a very popular guest last time.
He was a good guest. How about if we win the age category? We'll get the gang back together for the podcast.
No, but I want to get him whatever.
Oh, you're making a request.
Yeah, even if you don't win, he tells the other side of the story.
Oh, yeah. Let's see how it goes first before.
Exactly. So I'm booking him in. I'm sending that Zoom link before the race.
Oh, it's out there now, isn't it? It's going to happen.
Good luck. Good luck if you're listening to this. Racing nice and steady. Remember, everybody, nice and steady. Look after yourself. Keep cool. Keep drinking. Offer your salt tab to a friend. Thanks for tuning in. We love you for listening. Share the episode, share the pod, share the love. Recommend it to everybody you pass in the race.
Everybody.
If they're looking a bit sad, if they're listening to earphones, just, screenshot. There we go. Pop over to Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, subscribe, or even consider becoming one of our awesome Patreons. Thank you to X Miles Precision Fuel Hydration, Phoenix Lights UK, Harrier Trail Running, Protein Rebel and Shocks for sponsoring this week's show. Remember the codes: T10 2025 for Shocks, T15 for Protein Rebel, T-Time 2025 for Precision Fuel Hydration and T10 for Harrier Trail Running. Thanks to all our partners and Patreons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
Yeah, good luck to everyone out on the trails. See you in the Langdales if you're towing the line. Some best of luck to everyone heading to Wales and the Skipton Skedaddle too. Please, my goodness me, please look after yourself. And if it's all getting a bit too much, then slow down, especially if you are male 100 team at the old county tops. Let the trail rise to meet you and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to your future self. Breathe and believe, and progress, not perfection. My name is Gary Thwaites.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was episode 121 of the Tea and Trails podcast.